The next step is to install the binding and the purfling. And the purfling is just a decorative piece. Here it is, a piece of herringbone. And I bought it pre-bent. And the binding is a strip of maple that I bent on the on my side bender, and it'll go like so. The purfling will sit right there on the top, and the binding will cut into the top and the side of the guitar. And we'll do that with a router and this is a router bit, straight cut bit with a bearing on it, and that bearing from here, from the tip of the blade to the bearing, is the width of these two put together. That will plow into the guitar and it will cut. The first will just be that thick, and I'll plow around the guitar for that to go in. Then I will reset with a different bearing, and will cut deeper into the side, and that's where the binding would then fit in. So let's start cutting. The way that you cut the channels for the binding and the purfling is with a router that rides up and down on a cradle. And then there's also a cradle that the guitar body sits in. And you can't really tell it, but the objective is you want the guitar to be the same height from the bottom of the board all the way around, the same height. So that way you have a dead level top here, and that way your router is cutting a 90-degree channel. And I will spin this under there, under that router, and you can see I've got some chalk marks here to prevent tear out, because it's straight grain. If a router bit catches it, you can rip a big chunk off. So I'm going to follow the directions of my arrows here, come all the way around, and when I'm through, I'll come back around and do a final cut. Then we drop the depth of the router, and we cut another channel for the binding. You can see the channel that I've cut here, and that's for the herringbone purfling. You can see it fits in there. It's pretty nice. And I have to clean all this up, of course. It's real fuzzy right here. And then I'm going to set the router up for a different depth, and that will cut another channel that the binding will sit in. The two-step channel has been cut. This is the pucker factor is pretty high when I'm doing this, because you're coming close to cutting the top off of your guitar, but when you glue the binding and the purfling there, that's adding additional strength. So you can see right here, I just did a quick little tape just to show how they They drop into the slots. And that's how, I'll come around. It'll look really good. Now I'm going to start gluing the binding and purfling to the guitar. I've got some binding tape here. I've run off a bunch of strips. I've come in here, I've started it. I've lined up on my center line the purfling and the binding. I will tape it as we go. I will apply glue down the channels, tape it all the way around, do the same on the other side. I have taped the binding and purfling all the way around. I'll let it set up for a little while, flip it over, do the same thing on the back. So the binding on the back is glued up, a little gap right there. You come around, you can see I had some tear out right there, substantial tear out. You can't fill that with sawdust. So I am trying to fashion out of a piece of red rosewood a little patch that hopefully I'll be able to fit down in there like so, glue it up, and because it's all straight grain, hopefully it'll won't be too noticeable. We'll see. That patch worked out pretty good. If you're looking for it, you can see it. But I think that's gonna fill out just fine. I'll come in here and put a little sawdust in that little crack there. Same right there. I did that up here. Kind of sloppy looking, I'll clean that up. But I think this is gonna be all right. I think that turned out pretty good. Now that everything's been glued up, the next step is to get the binding and purfling flush with the top. It's a little proud, which is the way you want it. You don't want to have to sand the top down to the height of the purfling. So the way I'm going to do is I have a card scraper. I've got the guitar in that cradle. It is clamped down. I'm just going to work my way around. Get it as close to flush. Then I'll come back with a sander and I'll sand it down where it's dead flush. So I've used the scraper to get it flush, and now I'm gonna take some sandpaper and sand it down even closer. So the binding is also a little proud of the sides here, so I need to sand it down. And this creates a bit of a problem because the binding is already pretty thin, and I'm gonna wind up, it's gonna make it really, really thin in some parts around the guitar, which means I didn't, I should have found a way to cut the channels just a tad bit deeper than what I did, but we can live with this. finished scraping and sanding, and the box is officially closed. So here it is with the herringbone. Oh, that's pretty. And the seam is a little bit, you can see a little bit, but they join together pretty good. On the back, the purfling, pretty good, pretty good. And that patch, like I said, if you look for it, you can find it. So just don't look for it, all right? Pretty good, pretty good. So the box is closed. The next step is the one that gives me the most trouble. Next is attaching the neck to the body, and we'll see how that goes.